Hi, I'm Ken, and I've been diagnosed with ADHD. Growing up with ADHD was very hard for me because I felt like a failure a lot of times. I thought that I was just bad at doing physical activities. I thought I was klutzy. I didn't have a name associated with it, like ADHD was something that nobody ever knew about when I was growing up. My dad used to call it infamously the ditch gene.
Did you say it to your mom as well?
Yes.
And what were some things that she would do that would make your dad think that it was the Ditz gene?
Forgetful of things, or I guess that's the big thing that I can think of as being forgetful, and just not be reliable. Maybe she would forget appointments or things like that. My father was always, he knew, he was very assured of himself and very organized, and we weren't. So that's really what the problem was. Even like working on the car with him, I would drop things, and he would be like, "What the heck's wrong with you?" You know. I liked a lot of different things, but then when I saw in college that I couldn't pursue those things because I didn't have, like I said, the language issue, and I didn't have the math, the science background. You know, it didn't come easy for me at all. I was very discouraged. You know, I mean, imagine all the things that you like in life that you couldn't do because you weren't capable. My wife takes care of all the finances because it gets. I usually put them off, and I usually am sloppy about it, or I don't. Sometimes it's detail oriented, which is not my strength.
How did you finally get diagnosed?
Yeah, so that's probably like the biggest epiphany is finding out that I did get diagnosed with ADHD, and it was because my daughter got diagnosed with ADHD first, and then my wife said, "Hey, this sounds a lot like you. Maybe you should get diagnosed also." So I went to a psychiatrist, got diagnosed, and sure enough, he said, even though there's no blood work or anything like that for ADHD, there are some tests that you can do. There's a questionnaire that you fill out, and depending on your answers, and then through an interview process also of how you handle certain tasks. That's how they determined if you have ADHD. So, but knowing that it had a name for what I had was the biggest thing. Okay, I didn't care about the medications or all the other things to fix the problem. The fact that I had something that I could read about, that's what really did it for me. So I picked up this book, but it was like one of those books that made me cry because it was reading about my life and seeing that if I had known about this 10, 15 years earlier, if I knew about what I had, how much better I would have felt about myself and the issues that I had growing up. So that was a big epiphany. And what was very disheartening though was that the psychiatrist was like, "You're gonna feel so much better once you try medication. It'll be like putting glasses on. You'll be able to focus. You'll be able to do all the things that you couldn't do, and you won't feel so much like a failure anymore at those activities." So I was like, "Great." I tried all the different types of drugs. I tried them a second time, even 10 years later, but they would my heart would race, or they would make me sick, or they would do nothing, and and that's true for my daughter as well. The drugs didn't seem to do anything for her, which I'm pretty upset about as well. But but I read a lot, and I read how to deal with it. Because you don't have to have medication to be successful, and I've proven that. And with the coping mechanisms that I have, and being okay to accept when I make a mistake, not to beat myself up. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned now is to not beat myself up over and over again. What an idiot I am when I do something stupid. But definitely saw things that were similar between my dad and my wife, um, as far as being frustrated with me. That's for sure. That disappointment. where I said I was going to do something and I didn't, or I didn't do it the way that they wanted me to do it. That was very hard. That's why I lied to her in the beginning, because I felt like I was dealing with my dad. I think that being so unsure of myself and so feeling like a bit worthless, my whole life probably has made me have that as a reflex, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm worthless, and I want to feel myself. So that's why, that's why I did that. So.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.